Hello, this is Clara from Creations by Klare. In this video, I'm going to do two projects. This first one, I'm going to make risers out of the shelf sitters. I actually decoupaged and painted these shelf sitters a couple of months ago, and if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see the full tutorial on how I did this. But they seem to not been working out as shelf sitters. They were just probably either too small. So they're going to be risers now, and I'm going to add these wooden beads to the bottom to give them the height. So let's get started. So before gluing the beads to the shelf sitters, I'm going to apply this antique wax and apply it and remove it. I'm using these little chopsticks and just sticking them in this styrofoam to allow them to dry a little bit better. As you see, I'm applying the wax and then wiping off. And I'm going to do this for 8 beads. One side of the shelf sitter has this Baroque air dried clay, and now I'm going to add it to the other side. And this mold was purchased on Amazon, and I'll add the link to it in the description. And add a little bit of cornstarch so that the clay can release. And I'm using DAS air dry clay. I keep my clay inside a Ziploc bag with a little wet paper towel inside a Tupperware or plastic container to try to keep the air out and as moist as possible. So I'll press it in the clay as best I can into the mold, and I use that little palette knife to remove any excess. But I end up removing a little bit too much, so I press in a little bit more. Now this mold is very kind of small, so we really do have to press it in really well. So I'm going to make 2, one for each riser, put on the opposite side. You don't have to use this palette knife to remove the excess. You can continue to kind of smooth out any excess with your fingers and thumb. But I just been finding it easy just to shave off that little excess to help the clay sit flatter on the project that I'm going to be using it on. You can see it just kind of removes that excess really nicely with that palette knife. When I completed these shelf sitters, I had sealed it with Mod Podge. So now I'm trying to remove a little bit of that Mod Podge with sanding it and wiping it off with the wet wipe. I'm gluing the clay castings with Titebond wood glue. It works really well with wood, clay and wood. It just holds it really tight or very permanent. And just cleaning off any of that excess glue with the wet wipe. Now that the glue has dried, I'm painting the clay with Snow White chalk paint. Now I'm adding the antique wax to the new casting that I added, and adding a little bit and then wiping off. And it'll look exactly like the other end of the shelf sitter or riser. Now that the antique wax on the beads have dried, I'm going to glue them on to the bottom of the riser. I'm going to use Titebond wood glue, just a little smidge. I put a little bit too much there. So just put it all on the bottom of the part that's going to touch the wood, and do it on all 8. And I've already done the smaller one, as you can see, and I'm going to tape each one with the painter's tape to hold it tight and let it sit at least 24 hours to make sure it adheres and dries and holds completely. Now 24 hours later or the next day, I can remove the painter's tape. And as you can see, the glue adheres very well. The beads to the wood, do the little shaking test, and they won't come off. Unless you really knock on it hard, it'll probably come off. Now I'm painting or adding clear wax by Waverly to the new clay casting, and I'll also apply to the beads and probably put 2 coats to make sure that it protects well. And here's the transformed shelf sitter to table riser. Aren't they so beautiful? I really love them. And I really love them with my little elephants, wooden elephants, and my Hindu statue. Okay, this is the second project. I'm actually going to repair this frame. It gave me the impression of marble stone little squares just made into a frame. And look at the back, it's beautiful wood too. So I'm going to be using DAW's air dry clay, and hopefully this will come out the way I'm hoping it will and not look like it's repaired so much with just using clay and not actually using the stone, or it's probably resin is what I'm guessing. And this is a numbered edition print from Mexico, these little parrots. So I really loved them, and this is the only frame I could find in the many frames my neighbor gave me. So we'll see. So I'm removing, there was one loose little tile that was there, so I'm popping it off. I'm gonna glue it back on and removing that dried glue that's on there. And this looked like there was this like a gold transfer that was applied to these little tiles around the frame. So I'm using DAS air dry clay, and I'm trying to figure out the thickness. So if not, will remove some of it before I glue it back on. I'm using the existing tile as a template. So now I made my missing pieces with air dry clay, and I'm going to glue them on with Titebond wood glue. Just a little bitty dots, spreading it with the popsicle stick and applying or inserting. Now I've glued on my clay pieces and the pieces that were broken or loose, and painting with Ivory chalk paint. This is the closest color I had on hand that was close enough to the existing tiles. So I'm gonna give it 2 to 3 coats of this paint, Ivory chalk paint. So now I'm going to try to duplicate the design, this gold Baroque design, on the new tile piece that I made with clay. So I'm using this bit of tracing paper, and it looked like it was this piece that of the design that is missing. So first I'm gonna do it on one side with the pencil, and then I'm going to turn it over and copy the design on the other side, as I'm doing here. And so and then placing it over the clay, and just once you outline it with your pencil, it'll leave the imprint of the pencil marks on the clay. And I will paint with gold, pure gold metallic paint, and it's look very close to the same color of this existing transfer. I'm going to be using a liner paintbrush so I can get into the small areas of this this pencil design on the clay, and give it at least 2 coats of this acrylic paint. I think this came out pretty good. If you look closely, it does look newer, but looking at the other tiles, some have just a different age or some different little stains. So I'm giving it a second coat here of the gold acrylic paint. To give it that glossy look, I'm going to apply a couple coats of this gloss Mod Podge to the sides that I added, and to the one piece, the newer piece. Good as new. Here's a new repaired frame. Thank you for watching. If you're inspired, please like and subscribe. Thank you.